This show is proudly brought to you by RNS Consultants. RNS Consultants, share the energy.
We're the team that sparks the night. Arts consultants, we take pride. Ideas flow, we've got the plan. Sharing
Welcome,
energy
guys. Welcome. And by the way, this is going to be the first episode of the podcast, the first official episode of the podcast. After we dropped a video of introduction, actually, that's what we decided to call it. This is going to be the first episode of the podcast. And by the way, guys, I received 3 DMs from different people saying that the quality of our videos, because our editor suggested that we use phone cameras. So the people have been telling me, okay, the quality of the cameras is not doing justice on big screens, on big plasma TVs. So I just want to share the word, Hore. We have invested in 4K cameras. And then pretty soon we will be able to get proper cameras. And also we are working on the recording studios, because currently we are recording on somebody's living room. So we are also working on that. And by the way, guys, the topic of today is going to be a very personal topic to me. It's going to be about forgiveness. It goes a long way with me, part of forgiveness, because I have mentioned on the previous video, Hore, I'm a father of three, and I was in a relationship. If this life has to test you, it has to be the other gender, guys. If this life really has to test you, it has to be the other gender. The mother of my kids. I learned hatred and forgiveness through the mother of my kids. I had stayed with this woman for more than 7 years. We have kids together, and one day it happened. Okay, I lose my relationship. I lost her, and I unapologetically take full responsibility, guys, for losing her because of my then bad habits. Yo, I was in jail. I was out of line back then, and mind you, Hore, I have a partner at home. I have kids at home with Kore. I have her and the kids at home, but I was living a life here, bachelor. Kore bo bachelor, bo betere. I was living an insane life. My life was insane then. In almost everything, I was a serial of everything. You know, uh, I was a very hefty alcoholic, serial cheater. Kore, all of the bad things, you can put them there. I was that. So my action led to me losing a very good woman. The mother of my kids was a very good. She still is though, but not to me this time. So I lost that woman, and I say this without favor or fear. I lost a good woman, and when people ask me what's your biggest regret in life, I normally say, "Hore, my biggest regret in life was for me to do things that would lead into losing the mother of my kids. I regret losing that woman. She was a good woman. But if you ask me now, Hore, would you want to go back to her? I would uh, say, Hore, no, I don't want to go back to her. She has grown into another version of woman. Uh, e tla kgonwang ke batho ba bang, not me. She has grown so much from what I know of her, and I believe Orlena, I've grown in my own way. So I don't think it will work now, but I lost a good woman. I'm not ashamed to say that. So that brings us to the topic of today, which is forgiveness, guys. Like I said, I've been with her for more than 7 years. We had kids. This woman was literally uh, the person that taught me almost everything, you know. Um, so I lost her. Let me just start there. I lost this woman. I won't say what happened or what not, because I don't want to include her into these things. Um I lost her, and because I had lost her because of my actions, now I had started being bitter towards her, because I had a dream that one day I'm gonna marry her. I had a dream that one day I want her to be my future wife and all of that. Although I had the dream, I didn't think, "Oh, ha ke me utlwisa bohloko," when I was breaking her heart. I didn't think of that. So which makes it unfair of me to even say that. But just to give you the context of the story, I lost her eventually, and I started being bitter. I started being, bitter, and guys, bitterness and unforgiveness births hatred. So I was so unforgiving to the situation ya hore re kgaohane. Like I couldn't understand why did we get here. I couldn't understand. Um so I had started being bitter. I had started being unforgiving, and it led to me now hating her. And for the longest time, and in all of that, you would do things that would not only hurt her, but would also impact your kids. I would do things to her, and you know what they say: when the mother is not okay, the kids can feel it. You know, and I would hurt her, and the kids would realize, okay, Mama is hurt now that she was speaking to our father. That means the father said something. The kids would understand it in that logic. So each and every time I would appear, my kids had started now being a bit of rejective. They would be distant, because they know, okay, this one comes with stories. When this one is around, mommy won't be good, you know. Um, because I couldn't forgive the whole situation here, okay, and we are no longer together, you know. So it had already transitioned to hatred. I had now started hating her, you know. And guys, when I say hore, hatred is addictive, most people don't understand. I was enjoying hating her so much that it had now started producing some dopamine uh, in my brain. When I would think of, I would lie down on the bed, and I would think, "Oh, I hate her so much," and there would be some chemical dropping on my brain that makes me lose my mind a bit. Have you seen when you are drunk, too drunk, your mind is not stable? When I would say to myself, "I hate her so much," there would be that thing that doses on my brain just to make me imbalanced a bit. I don't know if that's depression or whatever, but I would enjoy that now. Think, okay, I hate her, yeah, this and this, and I would think negative things about her. and I would get those dosages, and I was now addicted to those dosages that would just come in my mind. And in doing that, there was also another physical effect that was happening. Um, for me to get those dosages, my chest would have to be so heavy. My chest would be so heavy. When I start to think about her, it would literally, I would feel like my chest would build up, you know. I couldn't breathe properly, you know. My heart would feel like a solid rock when I think of hating her and all of that. My heart would feel like a solid rock, so hard that I can't even breathe. And that's when now those dosages will come into my. I don't know what stage of hatred is that, but I was on that stage with her. Nah, not Yena. I don't remember her showing me the bitterness of her side. You know, I don't remember her saying that you won't see the kids. I don't remember my baby mama saying, "Hore, o hloile." In fact, my baby mama would even call me. Even now, she can call and say, "Come, to Bonaban." You know, and this person is engaged to be married now. You know, I think we were so toxic, or I was so toxic to her, to a point where I thought she's a bad person. But also I realized I was a bad person uh, to her. You know, and I realized although we were not good for each other, that does not mean she was not a good person. She's a good person. In fact, she found somebody who understands her even more. You know, uh, her boyfriend understands Honale, the baby daddy, and the boyfriend doesn't have a problem with that. You know, uh, it takes somebody matured to get to that level. O tseba hore ntate wa bana wa tla o tlo bona bana ba hae, and wena wa itswela o lo ya majiting, and you leave the guy to come and see his kids. And you trust your woman so much, you know, mosadi wa ka no touch a daimana no etsa nix ke di ex. You know, that's how much understanding her fiance is. You know, I think that's another level of maturity to reach there. But that's another story for another day. So I was so unforgiving to the whole situation. Um, and it had now started being impactful on the kids. I would literally see ha ke ya ke lo bona bana na ba tineya, ba boreya. Okay, oh God, here he is. When he leaves, Mama Hano ba happy because of that hatred, you know. Uh, and this thing, guys, is so addictive. It's so addictive. Like you even create um, your own excuses and your own realities, delusional realities, imaginary realities. Yeah, I must hate her, and this must happen. You know, you create such things. So um, I went on like that, hating her um, for months, man, for all over a year. And I remember I had started now taking 2023. I took therapy classes because no ways. Now this thing was so addictive, but it was hurting me. I knew you know. Um, the pain that was being left on my chest, it felt hori. I felt hori. It's leaving a dent. It's when I feel that pain, I feel like my heart is being scratched open every time when I feel that pain. And when I forget about it, okay, sharp, I feel the load going off, but I can feel the scar that it left. And then tomorrow happy when it happens because I want that dosage of dopamine, another scar on a different place on my heart. I could feel it. Oh, yo, you can't focus on your own things. You can't focus on your own life. All you think about or all you are seeking for is to feel this dosage of pain, of hatred, you know. So that went on, and I started attending therapy class, like 2023. And I remember the therapist said to me, because whatever that he was trying to say, guys, I wanted him to feel my side of the story. I would literally tell him, I do everything for this girl, why Ansia? Abandoning the fact that but you are a serial cheater, you are an alcoholic, you know. You guys, there's a lot of things that when I think of now, I put this girl through. And yeah, no, when I think of them, like, I realize how unfair and how sick I was, for me to be bitter, to have that right, the audacity to think, I have to be bitter, whereas this person only tried to give me care, you know. Um, the therapist said to me, but you are not acknowledging yourself in this. It's all about her. You did this for her, you did that. What did you do? How not when? And he asked me a simple question, why Aulas? And that was when I was like, oh, why unless? Because why unless for me it was not making sense. I was not even considering why. I was only I was only focused on the fact why I was not considering it. Until the therapist uh, asked me why Aulas. And then that's when I did say, actually, I cheated. Actually, I cheated on her. And she said to me, did you cheat on her? How many times? I couldn't count how many times. And I remember that week, for the past 2 months, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so guys, I gave her all of the reasons to leave me. And then I was unforgiving. I was the one not forgiving her. Whereas she's made peace for, okay, sharp, uferile. So I lived with unforgiveness for over a year, guys. The scar that was left in me. And one thing that I want to say about the unforgiving and hatred is that it creates this evil heart of or you it creates evil in you, because I had now started having thoughts of go to the sangoma, mietse so, or Ashabat, mietse so, and also the conscience of my kids would come, because to be honest with you, she's the I don't wish to have anybody that will look after my kids aside from her. She's the best mom for my kids. But with that hatred, I had now started having those ideas of finding people to eliminate her, you know. But I found help in therapy, and the following year, which was last year, 2024, hmm, hmm, that year, um, 2024, I went to buy. Let me tell you a story about how forgiveness came into my heart. 2024 early, I go to buy kota, a bunny chows kamban. I'm there buying kota, and this lady says to me, uh, excuse me, I just came back from church, says the lady who sells the kota. Or no, I just came, Sunday get away. I'm drunk on a Sunday. I'm working tomorrow, but I'm drunk. I don't care. And I'm going there to buy a kota because I didn't even cook. Go enjoy motuna pila life yung. So I'm like, okay, kilo reka kota. I get there, I find this lady, and she's like to me, I just came back from church, and yeah, and I'm like, oh, okay, where do you church? She's like, guys, you must understand, like, my dad is a bishop. Everybody in my family is a church person, you know. The older people, though, the ones now, hey, we are lost, most of us. So this lady says to me, I church somewhere, kakwal, kakwal, kakwal. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'll check it out of drunkenness, saying, no, I'll visit. Yeah, I'll visit. In my mind, I'm thinking, yeah, I'll visit with a bottle of half a jack, whatever. Yeah, I'll visit NJ. You know, sharp. Time went. I think 2 months passed after I met that lady, and then the following month I was just sleeping. I was just so tired of living the same thing. Hatred coming back. My heart is sore because I think a lot about this person, and the heaviness on my chest and the dosages of this thing. It was just toxic, guys. I could feel ntho e ke e phelang ha e nsebeletse, ha se yona. It's not working for me. This life that I'm living, Friday, I have money, I go get drunk. Saturday, I sleep with many women. Sunday, I go get drunk and I come back home with another woman. Monday, I go to work. I eat all of the money that I make on Monday. So one day I was sleeping. Hardcore babalas, hardcore hangover was killing me. Hey, I was being moved by hangover. And I'm like, okay, uh, I think I had 200, the last 200. It's Sunday. I'm like, shit, what will kill me? Let me just go to that church that the lady told me about. And guess what? I get there, somebody distracts me, and somebody's like, hey, let's not go there, let's go somewhere. Ziawa, beer cheap. Uh, 3 beers were like 35 friends, 3 beers. So I'm like, damn, I'm not going to church. I'm going there because I have 200 out there. We went there. When we got there, as I was buying beers, this guy in front of me was buying small Coke. And I asked him, hey, Chief, where are you going with the Cokes and stuff? Beer is cheap. The guy said, I'm going to church. Like, what church? It's like, no, there's a church close somewhere. Now I remember, no, man, I was going to church too. So I told this guy that, hey, Chief, I'll see you. I'm going to church with this guy. So we went to church with this guy. Yeah, and I think that was the best day of my life. That's when I learned about forgiveness for myself. That's when I learned about the first day that I got there. It was like the pastor was talking to me. By the way, our pastor, we call him an apostle. He doesn't like this other names. Bo prophet, he's an apostle. Um, it was like he was talking to me. Everything that he said, "Are you living in a circle?" Hey, and I reflected. I live in a circle. I get drunk on Friday, sleep with girls, and what? It's the same or every day. And now I'm 34, living same life. And he's like, if you're tired of that life, tell God that you're tired of that life. You know, guys. One thing that I love about God is that He comes unexpected. Uh, and the day you encounter Him, you don't have a plan. Okay, today I'm gonna encounter. You don't have a plan. You don't plan it. It happens. So on that day, I remember the pastor was preaching, and I heard a lot of voices like my ancestors and ancestors and ancestors. I heard them when he was saying, "Are you tired of living in a circle?" I reflected. Okay, my granny was a drunkard. This person was a drunkard. This person was a drunkard. This person was. So I'm repeating the drunkardness kind of life. And now, like I'm not forgiving somebody. Like a lawyer, Pela, that's being a witch if you can't forgive. And now I'm like, hey, Pela West. These ones were drinking, okay. They were sleeping with women and men, okay. Now I'm hating now. And I even have ideas of killing now because I hate that person so much. And I remember after reflecting all of that, I just stood up and I raised my hands. On my chair was, I normally sit at the back at church, and I prayed while he was preaching. I prayed, I cried, I cried, I cried, I cried. One thing about my church, one thing that I like so much about my church, people have their own problems, people are minding their own business, and people have their own life. If you cry, nobody will say, hey, he's crying. No. If you cry, you cry. It's your own problem. Cry. That's what I like about my church so much. So on that day, I raised my hands and I prayed out loud, and my pastor was preaching. And it is then, you must understand, I have 200s. It is then that after church, I got a hug from almost every guy and almost every woman that attended the church. And I don't know, I think at church they are taught to do that. When they hug you, they tell you that we love you. I needed to hear those words, that somebody at least, can you understand me? And when they said that we love you, um, I remember when I left church now, my eyes are so big, guys. I was crying so hard. After many years of not crying, Pela. When I got to town, now my habits are back, Pela. I'm out. I must now buy beer. I have 200. Part of me was like, the circle. Are you gonna leave the circle? Or are you gonna be strong and let the bad habits stop with you? That was the question. Now, ke le ka hare ka bottle store. My friend owns that bottle store. I asked myself, am I gonna say, give me black labels? Or am I gonna take my 200 to fuck off? And it was so hard. I remember it was so hard because my friends are still coming, hey, mana, hey, and Dafule in Tsukilipia. I remember I left the bottle store. I went to the butcher that's close. I bought 60 rand force. Because Nekisnal Dijo, guys, my life was just to buy alcohol and eat women. That was my life. What I eat, I don't care. Alcohol, sleep with many women as you want. That's my life. So I bought 60 rand Vors and then I went home. I got home, I played gospel, and on that day, I felt a huge weight being lifted off my shoulders. When I said Hore, it stopped with me. When I said those words, Hore, the cycle stops with me. I felt a huge weight being moved off my shoulders. So that is when I also had to think of forgiving my ex. I remember one day calling her, crying, crying because now one thing that was good about that is the fact that now I knew and I understood how to be vulnerable. I understood I have to be vulnerable in order to help myself because nobody cares about me except me. If I love myself, I have to take whatever the pain out. And I remember calling my ex, telling him, telling her how much I love her, telling her how much I love her. Because I did love her and I didn't understand why Ansile, but I made bad things to her. I did not want to acknowledge that. I remember calling her, telling her how much I love her. Okay, I love you so much and I'm sorry. As usual, she was like, okay, there's nothing to worry about. Don't stress. Be okay. You are the father of my kids. If you are not okay, my kids can feel it. Because she had also realized Urbana Tabel, and that affected her also. Haimuthabisi into Urbana Baratinta Dwabon. That's how good that woman is. She wants a good relationship between you and your kids. Because she understands, or you are the father. And if you are not healthy, how can you teach kids healthy things when? So that's how I learned my forgiveness, guys. I called her, and from then on, we had a regular meetups. We had to meet up, and we would talk about many things. Okay, Katsatilele, when you came back home, Katre, onole guy. And I would tell her, okay, I went out and I cheated on you on that day. Or no, I didn't cheat on that day. I was just away with the guys. I did not cheat really. We had to discuss and find closure. And that was the best rollout for Huyakan, finding forgiveness. And I say this without no fear, Hore. For me, the day I found God was the day a lot of things made sense. That's the day I stopped drinking alcohol. That's the day I stopped being a serial cheater. Although to be honest, okay, not cheating, but yeah, no, it happens. That one it happens. Okay, you find a girlfriend, maybe lingers 3 months in the and stuff like that. Yeah, but not cheating. I don't believe in cheating. When I have a girlfriend, I stick with her until maybe it's over or we are still dating. But aside from that, uh, God really made me realize the importance of self if you forgive people. Because all the bad habits that I had, I had to find a way to shift them. I did not want to get rid of the habits. I just had to get rid of the negative habits. I was unforgiving. I had a habit of unforgiveness. I had to shift it to a habit of forgiving. I had a habit of alcohol. I had to shift it to a habit of working and doing other good things. On Saturday or on Friday, I used to go out, drink a lot. How about you make one day to go and thank God, which is Sunday? So every Sunday, I make a plan to go to church because before I had a plan to go to alcohol. So now I have a plan to go to God. So that's how forgiveness works, guys. Forgiveness is not only for you to forgive other people or for them to say they forgive you, but it's also a liberation of your own soul, of your own mental and physical health, by the way. Because I now say this, Jorge, I was on the verge of depression. I don't know whether it was severe or it was just minor, but I was on depression. And because I didn't want to acknowledge my mistakes, I was always the victim. So sometimes, even if you are the victim, but to some degree, try to find the reason. Okay, what did you do wrong? I'm not talking about the rape more. I'm talking about people that lose their loved ones. Hore, sometimes reflect. Look, Hore, what did I do wrong? Forgiveness is liberation to your soul, to your mental and physical health. Try to find forgiveness. And you know what? For me, God made it happen. You know, and not only that, guys, God came with a lot of wisdom to me. You know, when the day I chose God, a lot of things made sense, or why I must let go, and why must I commit to some of the things and let go of some. There are people that I'm no longer friends with, a lot of them. There are things that I didn't, I get it hard, but I have to commit on because they benefit me. God, because God comes with wisdom. So, anyways, guys, that was the episode of today. Galibua, Niabonga, Ndimacheroni. I'm gonna eat my fruits now and take this person home. And yeah, guys, we're gonna be dropping every week, every second week, by the way. So yeah, and like I said, we still are looking forward to meet up with our sponsors and people that are willing to help us. So on that note, adios.